This is going to be yin for the outer hips and glutes. I myself have been so tight this week in that area, and it's like every day it just seems to be getting worse. So I'm finding I'm having to do a lot of stretches. So I thought a bit of yin would really help to release and loosen everything off. This is not going to want to stay on here. That's better. So with yin yoga, we do want to apply some pressure, but only about 40 to 50% of the extent that we can go to. So you're not pushing your body. It's like less is more, but you want to feel some sensation. Absolutely no pain whatsoever. So if you feel any pinching or sharp kind of pains, just back out. Gently try and go back in and just find your sort of sweet spot for it. So we won't be moving through too many postures at all. With it being yin, we hold the poses for longer. And it really targets our joints and our connective tissue, so it can really help with mobility and flexibility. So we're going to begin lying down. Just move this out of the way. So come to lie on your back. Excuse me, I'm still really croaky. Bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to drop out to the side. Just rest the arms out to the sides. You can close down the eyes. So this is our first yin posture. So we're not going to get any props to support us under the legs at all, just allowing gravity to help us here. So don't worry if your knees are more upright. If this really isn't for you today, then you can take the soles of the feet out nice and wide, so about as wide as your mat, and then let the knees drop in together. So whichever option works for you today. Resting the arms wherever feels comfortable, so out to the sides, maybe you rest them on the body. Just connecting to your breath. And this first posture is a really great one just to check in with yourself, see what's going on in your body today. Noticing where feels tight. Sounds like there's a baby elephant upstairs. If you're practicing this in the evening, see if you can lengthen your exhales, so making them longer than your inhalation. Just going to really help you to relax and send that signal to the brain that you're winding down, ready for sleep. If you're practicing this in the daytime, if you feel quite stressed out, then by all means do the same breathing. Otherwise, just try and keep your breath nice and even. You do want to be able to relax into the postures. But if you've got a busy day ahead, you don't want to be falling asleep. And just check in with your shoulders. Make sure that they're nice and relaxed. Sometimes when we put pressure on one part of the body, we kind of move it into another part of the body. Maybe you've squeezed your shoulders up towards your ears a little. Maybe you're clenching your jaw. Maybe you're scrunching your face slightly. Lovely. If you've got your legs the same way I have, just bring the hands to the outer edges of your thighs, gently guiding the knees up nice and slowly. And then bring the soles of the feet to the ground. Just hip width distance is fine. Take the arms out to the sides. Gently lower the knees to one side. Inhale to come back through center. Exhale to the other side. Just move in between each side just a few times. Just using this as an opportunity to notice how you feel in the hips and in the glutes. Lovely. And just even that out. And come back to center. So you're going to start by crossing that squeezing that left knee in towards the chest. Really squeeze it in so you are applying some pressure. And then see how it feels to take the right leg out long. If that's a bit too much, keep the knee bent. We're targeting our hip flexors here. And then flexing the right foot if you have the leg out long. Just keep actively squeezing the left knee in towards the chest. Try not to use too much arm strength because you don't want to cause any tension in your upper body. And if you have your knee bent, you might find after a few breaths you can start to slide that foot out a little more. And if you've got that leg out long, think of actively pressing the thigh into the ground. So that right leg will become quite tense, and that's fine. That's what we're using to apply pressure into the hip flexors. Just notice if your mind has wandered into that place where it's telling you it's dying to get out of the posture, because our minds give up way before our bodies do. And if it has, just ease up a little bit. It's just an indication that you've gone a little bit too far. You might find the hip flexor on this right side starts to get a little bit tired. Perfectly normal. We're very active in that right leg. Foot's flexed, pressing the thigh down. Just a couple more breaths here. And then bend into that right leg, bring the sole of the foot to the ground, and now we'll cross the left ankle over the right thigh or over the right knee. And see how that feels. Maybe start to draw the knees in towards the chest. You can interlace the hands behind the back of the leg. If you're in quite a deep fold, you can bring the hands onto the shin. Just try to avoid using too much arm strength. You want to use a little, but again, not allowing any tension to creep into the upper body. So just drawing the knees in until you feel sensation into the outer hip and the glute area. And just imagine that you're sending your breath directly there. each breath, that area expands and we find some space. And just check that that left knee is not falling in towards the body. Try and keep it actively pressing away at the same time as drawing the knees in. This is one of my absolute favourites. So some of the postures that we'll do today can be done in a seated position. I prefer to do them reclined because it just feels better for my knees. I get very painful knees sometimes. I just find by taking any weight out of my legs, I can get a little deeper into the postures without causing any pain. Lovely. Just keeping the legs where they are, just gently release. You're going to fully cross that left leg over the right now. And see if you can fan the legs apart. So taking the feet as far away from each other as you can. And then reach in for either the feet, maybe the shins. Maybe you just hold on behind the back of the thighs and draw the legs in. This is reclined shoelace pose. So hopefully your knees are kind of stacked directly one over the other. And don't worry if your feet are a little bit closer to your hips. Just work towards fanning the legs out more so that the feet are as far away from each other as they can be. So again, this is one that you can do seated. Can be very, very intense though. When we do it reclined, it just allows us a little bit more control over the intensity. Just around 5 or so more breaths here. Lovely. And gently release. And send that right leg out long. Keep that left knee lifted. You're going to guide that leg over towards the right side of your mat. You can allow yourself to roll over onto your side slightly. And then from here, you're going to bend the right leg behind you and reach and grab a hold of the foot. And then start to straighten the left leg. You might not want to straighten, so just allow it to be where it wants to be. If it is quite straight, maybe you can reach hold of the toes and hold on. This is called cat pulling its tail. It can be quite intense. It really targets a lot of areas in the legs. Probably feel it in the quads on the right leg, the outer hip, and the IT band on the left leg. The IT band is that it is literally like a length of connective tissue which comes all the way from the hip along the outside of the leg down towards the shin. Can get very, very tight. It's one of our stabilizers for the leg. So you might feel some unusual sensations, not necessarily painful, but just unusual. Just try and relax into it as much as you can. And again, this top leg might be more bent than mine is. Lovely. And very, very slowly start to unravel, coming back onto your back, knees bent. Just take the feet wide for a moment and allow the knees to drop in together. So just using this as a rebound posture before we move to the other side. Just noticing how one side of your body feels compared to the other. Maybe that left side feels a little bit more relaxed. It doesn't matter if it doesn't. Lovely. And then just bringing the feet hip width apart again. Bring that right knee in towards the chest. Squeeze it in. And then maybe lengthening out the left leg to see how it feels for you. If the leg's out long, flex the foot, press the thigh towards the ground. We're using a little bit of arm strength to squeeze this right knee in, but not too much. Just keep checking in with that left leg if you've got it out long. I very often get a little bit lazy and forget to flex my foot. Forget to stay active in that leg. And if you have that left knee bent, maybe sliding that foot forwards a little bit. Just allowing yourself to go a little bit deeper. And if you had that left leg out long, Just start to bend into the leg again. Bring the sole of the foot to the ground. Then we'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Just see how that feels. And then maybe drawing the knees in towards the chest. And just notice how this side differs from the first side. Might be a little bit tighter, might be able to get a little bit deeper this side. Just always remembering that one side is more open on our bodies. Not trying to force your body past its edge. Just find some sensation and see if you can relax into it. You might find after a few breaths you need to readjust as your body settles in and starts to open up a little. And release that left foot down to the ground, and then we're going to fully cross the right leg over the left. Draw the knees in towards the chest, and just like we did before, maybe you can grab hold of the feet, maybe the shins, maybe just hold behind the back of the legs. Seeing if you can fan the feet away from each other. The knees are roughly stacked, one on top of the other. And gently release the grip. You can send that left leg out long, keep the right knee lifted, and just start to gently roll towards the left side of your mat. Bending that left leg behind you, reaching hold of the foot if you can, and then starting to straighten the right leg, sorry. maybe grabbing hold of the toes if you can reach. Or keeping that leg bent if you need to. Just relaxing into it as much as you can. If you need to release the grip of that back foot, you can. So we shouldn't experience any pain. Just around 5 more breaths. And gently unravel, coming back to center. Just recenter yourself onto your mat. Again, taking the feet out wide, allow the knees to drop in together. Lovely. And then tap the arms out to the sides, making a big T. Take the knees to face upwards. Then you're just going to drop the knees over to one side. Doesn't matter which side you went to. If you want to make this a little bit more intense, you can always bring the front leg, place the foot on top of the thigh of the other leg. So if your knees are over towards the right, bring that right foot on top of the left leg. If the legs went over to the left, then bring that left foot on top. It's just an option there. So just try and make sure that both shoulders are on the ground and the chest is facing up. If that means that the legs don't quite come over towards that side, that's fine, don't worry. You still get all the sensations into the hip. Lovely. Bringing the knees back up through centre and lower them to the other side. And again, maybe bringing that foot on top if you want to go a little bit deeper. Just see where feels like the nicest sensation for you. Sensation that you need. And then bringing the knees back up through center. Just taking the legs out long. Just allow the feet to drop out to the sides, resting the arms, relax the shoulders. Just resting here for a moment. Taking time to notice how your hips feel, how your glutes feel, all those areas that we just targeted. If you're practicing this in the evening, then maybe you'd like to stay here a little bit longer. If that's all the time you have, start to bend into the knees. Take the right arm overhead, just roll onto that right side. Just pause in here for a moment. And then using the hands to press up to take a seat. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope it benefited you. I definitely feel a lot better, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.